Hello and welcome to this doll sculpting video where you'll see me make this. In this little preview you can see a cute doll torso and head and a bit of wire base poking out. This is what I will be making in this video, so please get yourself a snack and sit down and watch. It's about 17 minutes long. I have sped up most of the footage, so it's not going to be super tedious, but you kind of need to see it all to see what I did. So I am Gabrielle Rose, I live in London, I do art and I make dolls. Well, this is my first doll and hopefully it will go well, we'll find out. This is a sketch of the dolls I'll be making, and these are the tools I'll be using initially. Some wire mesh and wire. So there's my sketch. You can see me sort of copying the shape that I drew, sort of creating the initial base of the torso, and you can see I'm already making a 3D in a loop around the waist. So we're sort of, if you want to do this, do use gloves and to use goggles, because this is wire and this is sharp, so be careful. So I'm using my hands, but you can also use pliers, which I advise if you're using wire. I'm just using soft aluminium wire. I don't advise using steel wire because I did buy that and it's sort of brittle and snap and it's dangerous. So you can see the initial shape is being formed here, and actually wrapping the wire around itself to sort of strengthen the initial frame. Making the base of the head shape. You can see a little close up here. This was, I think, the next day. So when it changes shot, that was actually a different day. I spent about a month on and off working on this initial part of the doll. So you can see I've started to add the mesh onto the doll. This is to give me something to apply the clay to later on. I didn't use any sort of guidance doing this. I just sort of invented it based on how I prefer to work, how I prefer to sculpt. Most people don't use a wire frame. Oh, there I am. But I chose to use that because of the way I sculpt. Otherwise, all the clay kind of moves around and you don't get to keep the shape that you sculpted. So I really needed a base. This is what I'm making a base. There it is. There's me. Okay, so that was, I would keep doing this. I'm basically showing you the date. I'm showing you the phone, I'm showing you the date just so that you know when this all occurred. So this is the torso. You know, I do change the shape of the torso a lot. I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. And you can see the torso continues to be shaping the back of the torso, creating a waistline here to try and make sure it is accurate to my initial drawings. This is probably a little bit harder than it looks. It's not be fun using this material, but it is required for the stage coming up. This is me making the base for the head. Again, I'm twisting the wire around. This is soft aluminium wire. I'm just twisting around to create a little shape to put the mesh over. There I am again. I think I just wanted to put myself in here so you know who was making this. I will try and make live streams of sculpting later on, but just for now this is what we have. So still working on the torso. This is an important point. So making a doll, this is where you hold the doll. You're going to hold the doll at the waist. Generally, holding this other doll by the head is not too smart because the head might come off. These type of dolls, you can take the head off, you can change the eyes. It's a BJD. I may make a web page to educate people about BJD if they don't know about it, but I haven't made one yet, so it's a little bit different to a Barbie or any other kind of plastic doll. It's sort of customizable, you can change everything, you can change the wigs and the eyes and all that stuff. So the torso is quite important because that is where you'll be handling the doll primarily, because nothing's going to fall off or move if you handle it with the torso. That's why I started there. So your skinny little torso, she's going to have more of a shape coming up later. The head base is not the best head base, you need a better head base than that. I had some trouble with this base due to the sort of large eye holes and things like that. You should make a better base, meaning more detailed, more accurate to the shape of the face you want to put, the clay you want to put on it later. So I sort of learnt from my mistakes here. But that's okay to start with. But yes, if you're going to be working on the head for a lot, which you do need to do, you need to make a better base than this one. So don't use this as a good example if you are trying to learn from this video. Make the nose and the cheeks a little bit more accurate to the future face sculpt you want to put on. So I haven't worked much on the arms yet, I just want to see what they look like on there. I started to work on the legs again. I haven't worked on this much yet. This is just to give me an idea of what it's going to look like when it's complete. Just again creating a wire frame for the legs so I can apply clay to it later. You see the base of a doll is made here. It does look like a doll. I might end up changing a lot of the shapes that are here, but it's, for example, it is going to be smaller than that as I continue working on it, but you do see the sort of base of a doll here, which is what I was going for, and this was only really a few days work, but it's intensive work. This is a point I quite like it. We're starting to see a shape. You do need to have a good base, you do need to have a good shape to sculpt over, otherwise you're going to have trouble. So coming up in part 2 I will be making the legs and the arms and working on the rest of the doll more, but this is just making the head and the torso so far. For this day I put some clay on there. I moved from wire to clay, which is the point of making the base. It's quite difficult to get to the point of it looking like something, so initially it's just going to be a lump. And then you just have to keep going until it starts to create a character for itself. It starts to look like a little person. Sculpting a face is generally the hardest part. Sculpting a body is easier, just to, there's lack of detail in a body, lack of detail we expect to see in a body, but we all expect to see a detailed, accurate face. So that is the hardest bit. If you want to have a better time, you don't really want to start with the face, but that's what I do, because I always start with the face when I draw or when I do anything. Just adding some detail to the face. gap on the back is so there's a removable head plate so you can change the eyes. It's just part of it. BJD generally that is expected, but if you want to just make a doll for yourself, I recommend just having a solid face and painting the eyes in. It's going to be a lot easier to sculpt holding the shape when there's a gap in the back and a gap in the front. With the eyes and the head plate, it is not too easy. Working on the head plate, this is definitely a point where it will start to fall apart if you have the large gap in the back, and that is what happened to me. So I had to remake this face, which you can't see on camera because I didn't film it, but this face ended up getting remade. You start to have a bit of character at this point. You can kind of see what she's going to look like later on. I think this point, that was the second face. That was basically the second head I made. The first head got damaged due to my frame not being good enough. So do be careful if you want to make a doll with this technique. This is the current face of the doll. This is what she looks like now. I worked on the torso a little bit more past this point. So I really like this design. I really like her face and the way that torso looks. I'm looking forward to continuing work on her. I do split the frame. I split the waist in this, if you watch carefully, just so I can start to build up the waist joint. Sculpting the chest. I'll probably do two different torsos for the female sculpts, so we'll have a more sort of slight and thin torso. This is sort of the medium, I guess, medium size. So we'll have a more sort of flat chested one, if you want to say it that way. So I haven't worked much on the back, but the front looks good to me. I need to work on it more obviously, but I do like the basic shapes. I like her face. Interesting to see what happens when I start to work on the waist, the legs and the arms. It's going to look good. I was starting to make a head plate on the back. I was sort of going for a unusual head plate shape. It just seemed to be better structurally for me to do it that way. The head plate will be held on with magnets or a little sort of switch I'll put in there. We'll see what happens later on, but probably magnets. And this is not be selling this sculpt or anything like that. It's the base sculpt that I'll make, and I'll make casts of later on. I quite like this head cap shape. As you can see, I feel like that flat across the bottom and sort of curved across the back. I feel like that looks good. See, I split the waist at this point. You can see that's going to be a waist joint. This is about the point we're at now. So this is the last day I've worked on it so far. I've had a little break to do other things in between, but I will get back to it. So check out part 2, which will be up when I do it, when I do that bit of sculpting. Hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen. So there's me splitting the waist. So part 2, I'll probably be working on the hips, the lower body, probably the upper arms and the upper legs. This doll will be strung inside with elastic. This is why she's hollow. It's not going to be a solid doll anyway. It's going to be strung with elastic so you can move the joints. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out part 2 when it's up. And I hope you enjoyed learning how I made my first doll.